We're all faced with decisions every single day of our life. Some of those decisions are small, and others are large with greater consequences. But no matter what, each and every one of us makes a decision throughout their daily life. Now, the brain has always been somewhat of a mystery about what occurs when we make these decisions. But the unconscious thought theory deals with exactly that, and it tells us a little bit about what goes on in our brain when we make these decisions. According to changingminds.org in 2016, the unconscious thought theory is how your brain makes decisions with the given information. Now, we usually want to make the best choice when we go about making these decisions, and we always want to be successful with what we choose. But it's important to gather all the information that we have and put it all together and hopefully come out with the best outcome. It's not always that simple, and you say that decisions aren't as easy as it seems, and you can't necessarily just gather the information because our emotions get tied in, and some decisions just aren't that easy. However, according to the American Psychological Association in 2009, 60% of people who went with their initial thought were correct. Now, I've already talked about gathering the information, but it's really important that when we have all this information stored in our brain, that we go back to what's important and we go back to what we initially thought. The unconscious thought theory tells us a lot about how it's really important to go with your initial decision and never second guess yourself, because most of the time, 60% of the time, your initial thought was correct. Now, according to that same article by the American Psychological Association, the first information that our brain comprehends is usually the most important. So, for example, if you're going into an apartment that you're wanting to buy, and you have these things that you start noticing and this information that you collect, it's usually the first thing that comprehends in your brain is usually the one that you're going to base your decision most off. So, it's very important that you go through and you evaluate everything, but make sure to come back to that first initial thought and the first thing that you comprehended, because that'll help you decide the best. A time test was given to adults that was on basic knowledge. When they had 10 minutes, 90% received an A. And when the same people only had 30 minutes, only 76% received an A, according to Yale University in 2011. This just goes to show that when you're taking a test in class, like we all do, that it's important not to stress over the little things and get caught up and confuse yourself on second guessing, and just go with your initial impression, because it's usually right. You're more likely to receive a better grade if you go through the test and do everything that you know how, and then come back to those ones that stumped you and remember your initial thought, and then try and take that problem again. Now, in the same study by Yale University, people that sleep on their decisions are more likely to be successful. This is just a great way to tell you that you need to take time and on bigger decisions, like where you might go to school, it's more important to sleep on the facts and kind of just stew in your brain what you think is more important. Now, on a decision like what you're going to wear for that day, you don't necessarily need to put as much emphasis on that decision, because then you'll just go throughout the day wearing nothing and then sleep on it and then maybe wear it the next day. But it's nice to take time with the large decisions, gather all the information, and go about making those decisions throughout a couple of days rather just really quick decisions. Even though that might be your initial thought, it's always important to go over the facts, study it, and then go back to your initial decision and compare it and put it all together to make the best possible choice. Overall, the unconscious thought theory goes through a lot about how our brain works when making decisions. It talks about your initial impression, how much emphasis is put on each decision, and like I just said, taking time to make the best choice in our everyday life.